this night in New York, he was like, he was gonna go out, and it was like midnight or 1, and he's like getting the night started, and I was like, dude, we're all staying in this place. Just stick with us. Like, don't. I was just kind of concerned. We're leaving in the morning, next gig, next town, and he was like, Scott. And he basically was like, don't fuck with me. He was like,
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lobster and Beer. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. Today's guest is one of my all-time favorite artists. His songs not only helped me through a really tough time in my life, but they have also been the soundtrack to some of my favorite road trips and moments spent with family and friends. His band, the Avett Brothers, have been nominated for 3 Grammys, but what I love about him is the accolades don't matter at all. His pure heart shines through his music and exceptionally beautiful visual art. So this one's very special for me. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to us live from his hometown of Concord, North Carolina, with a lobster and a beer, Scott. Hey, man!
Let's go, baby!
lobster and a beer, Concord, North Carolina. Hey, this is a long way from, the lobster is a long way from the fish camps. You know what a fish camp is, Brian?
No, what is a fish camp?
You ever heard of a fish camp?
No.
When we were growing up, there were houses like out in the rural parts in the counties around us. There'd be like a house near a lake, and it'd be converted into a restaurant a lot of times, and sometimes just straight up commercial restaurants. But since we're so far from any seafood, you just fry everything.
Yeah.
Everything's fried. There's no grilled, boiled, you couldn't really put a lot of, you had to intentionally not put too much care in it so you wouldn't taste the lack of freshness. So fish camps were something we grew up with. It was like all about that fried shrimp and tartar sauce. That was it, that was it.
Ooh, okay.
And it was incredible. The ones that did it, the ones that do it right, I mean, it's incredible. But this is next level, when you get into Maine lobster, it's next level, hot chicken. But,
that's huge there. By the way, now that we're speaking of food, I'm gonna dive into this.
Let's try the basil.
Yeah, so
and the hot sauce.
Your special ingredient was the basil with the Valentino's hot sauce. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really great. It's working.
Is that fresh basil from your garden, or is that
so? I thought about the basil because I bought a plant at the grocery store. I did have a garden over the summer with it, but my youngest son Luke is crazy about just plowing through basil leaves. So there's meaning there behind it,
Mm-hmm. And
there's this basil plant in front of our sink that it wilts and dies. We water it, it comes back. So this is basil from that plant that just we can't let it go. It just hasn't died yet.
So Luke he eats basil, just
devours basil.
That kid is going to be a strong kid, let me tell you. That is like Popeye spinach, I got to feel like.
Yeah. How do you convince your kid to eat basil?
Salad for breakfast.
That is true. Matt, this morning, I'll let go.
Well, how did you eat when growing up? Did you eat well for your mom, or did you?
Yeah, I had my mom's from South Boston, and so every dinner I had my vegetables, and it was like, Brian, you can't leave the table unless you finish your vegetables. And it was like, so I got used to it and I fell in love with it. But it's funny because this morning, Matt, our producer, is in the background here. I woke up and the first thing I did was make a big salad at like 10 a.m. And he comes downstairs to make coffee, and he's like, are you eating salad right now for breakfast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Felt like I needed it.
It depends on what you ate last night, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was, for us growing up, our mom, we never made more than we need. We never ate seconds, and she would not allow any colorful cereal, like no food dye cereal. It was like, it was a very Amish style eating. I would have a buddy come over and be like, "Can I stay to eat?" My closest neighbor was about a mile away, and he'd say, he was used to, if I went over to his house, they'd have a mountain of mashed potatoes and green beans and whatever, chicken or whatever, and they'd keep feeding me, make me get seconds and thirds, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. He'd come over, my mom would be like, I don't know if he can stay. I only have 5 servings. It's
wow.
I'd love for him to stay, but I don't have the food. We've got 5 servings, 5 people, and he would go home. We just didn't have, they didn't, it was not more than you need. It was never excess. It never was.
Yeah.
Can I just comment to the Valentina hot sauce on
this is great, by the way.
It really is, man. I had no idea.
The basil, the Scott Avett Lobster Roll coming soon. I'm gonna tell you, this one really goes together.
Yeah,
I love it.
It does have a great the hot sauce with. Obviously we have butter on it, and we have the lobster too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I think he's loving his more because he added like half a stick of butter more.
Listen,
I really do.
There's never too much.
There's
butter.
never enough butter with the lobster roll at all.
It's incredible, man.
And it pairs well. This is actually my first time having the Finder IPA.
Me too.
And it pairs well. It tastes good with it.
It is a great IPA. There's no doubt about it.
Are you an IPA guy?
I am. I've had a lot of them, and I don't do well with some of the hoppy, like when they, too hoppy and too bitter. I used to just dig into it, but now the ones that can really dial in that, get it just smooth enough. And the New England is the way to go, Like,
oh yeah,
I've been impressed with some of them. And Charlotte has a great brewing. New England's New England, so you can. It is what it is. But Shipyard is. I've had another one from Shipyard that I really loved. I can't remember what it was now.
Was it like a blueberry or?
No.
We're gonna send you that one because I think you of all people would really like that. It has got the freshest blueberry smell and stuff to it.
Really?
This guy, yeah.
I think we're gonna send you some because you're gonna have to try that for sure.
Please.
Yeah, we got you. We had it last night with our last interview, and needless to say, we drank enough for me to wake up and feel like I needed to eat a salad.
Salad, yeah.
It connects. Well, dude, I had a question that I wanted to ask before we even dove into things, all the intro and everything. And it's a very serious question, and we've been talking about it in the studio, and we've been excited for this interview. Are you still nervous, and do you wake up in the middle of the night sometimes about Seth being kidnapped?
Dude, I'm from that generation where we had the milk cartons, okay? You understand that. So
I don't even know what that means.
That was the thing, man.
On a milk carton?
Yeah, I am. But you know what? I don't know if you read this. There was a night in New York City, and probably, I bet this was 2006 or 7, and I still had that chip. Like, I was like this to Seth. I was just kind of like, man, hey, where are you going? No. I'm gonna tell you, I have a problem with the. Whenever I'm off balance, I start trying to tell people what to do. It's really, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I see it now, and I try to keep it in check because it's me. It's me. Like, I'm going to tell people, why is this a mess? And you have to do this, you got to do that. And it's like, wait a second, you need to. So I know, it's me. So, but being an older brother and really caring, really being, worried about him being kidnapped. And this night in New York, he was going to go out, and, it was like midnight or 1, and he's like getting the night started. And I was like, dude, we're all staying in this place. Just stick with us. Like, don't, I was just kind of concerned. We're leaving in the morning, next gig, next town. And he was like, Scott, he basically was like, don't fuck with me. He was like, I'm going out. You don't own me. And it was at this moment that he was like, let me know. We're peers. I'm not little brother.
Yeah.
We're partners. And that's a lateral point of view. That ain't, you know. And sometimes you're gonna have to look up to me, just like I have looked up to you and will. But you're gonna have to look, you know. And I was like, all right. And he showed back up the next day. You know, he stayed up all night, but he was on point. We got to what we did. We went home and
it's always going to be proved wrong, but again, you'll never lose that. You'll never. There's still always that little part of you with a little brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, man. I love it.
I mean, I have two older brothers, and one's in Sweden, but the other one lives part-time in LA, close to me, and then he's in Boston as well. And still to this day, and what's the age difference between you and Seth?
4 years.
4 years? Okay, so he's 10 years older than me.
God.
And still to this day, I get the lectures. If we're hanging out, if we're in Miami together, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go meet some friends, he'll sit me down and be like, you don't need to go out, man, you're fine. And I'm like, hey, I'm a grown man, JT.
I know.
I can exist. It's very similar to that. I'm like, I can, yeah. Cheers to JT, my older brother.
Yeah. I know.
And cheers
man.
to Seth as well.
Yeah. Well, look, 10 years, let's say 5, 6, 7 years more, and he's old enough to be, you know, he could have fathered you. Like, it's like, so that perspective is pretty crazy. But that, regardless, you're right, man. You're right.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I mean, you know, as an older sibling, those, and I was a middle kid too. You know, our sister's older than I am, so I was in the middle. So I think there's some birth order stuff that goes on with all of us. Are you the youngest of the group?
I'm the youngest, yeah, by far. Some would say I'm a mistake, and the fact that I just said that on camera, my mom is gonna kill me. I'm sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
But I've made that because my second brother, he's 8 years older than me, Scotty, and JT's 10 years.
I'm a middle though, so I know exactly how you're feeling, Scott.
Wow,
I was in that same boat as you.
Yep. And you project it on your own when you have a middle. You're like, my kids are the exact spread and the exact all the same gender that we were. So I've got an oldest daughter, and then a middle boy and a younger boy, and it's interesting seeing that literally on the land we grew up on. You know, like,
yeah.
So there's
a
really
beautiful about that.
There's a surreal vibe about it, you know. I mean, and the pandemic has changed. Like, that's been really weird. Like, really digging in and being here, because I'm used to being gone. That's part of my game, and they understand that, and I think that's good for fatherhood. But it's been a different vibe.
Yeah, sure. I was gonna ask you about that, because I mean, I've seen videos of you guys playing b-ball. Do you have a little basketball hoop?
Yeah, man. Of course.
So
yeah.
Who's better, you or Seth?
Man, I gotta say, in basketball and ping pong, Seth consistently outperforms me. However,
I was gonna say I could. Cheers to that. Cheers to the honesty, 100%.
Hold on. Well, I'm gonna contradict you. However, I truly believe that on any given day, I can beat anyone on the basketball court or the ping pong court. Okay, at any given day.
Okay.
Period. No doubt, man. I mean, but
all right. So I feel the same way. My older brother, he can play very well.
Yeah.
But the last 2 times we played, he's gonna hate the fact that I'm saying this as well, because the last time we played, he was kind of drunk, and I kicked his ass. I beat him by like 11, and
basketball.
In basketball, yeah.
He was drunk playing basketball.
Oh yeah, I've made a vow now that I probably won't play him ever again, just so I can keep the W above him, because he hates it. Family outings and everything, I bring it up. But I think that the fact that you're that confident in playing b-ball, that we need to have a challenge right now in the future that you and I play one-on-one, because I think I got you, man.
I would love it.
We play for Lobster and Beer. Winner takes all right there.
Yeah.
See, that's different. Like, how tall are you, Brian?
I'm
He's a short.
He's a short.
We're too similar. See, this is gonna be like a mirror. We're gonna be like, except I'm the older version. So you're gonna have a little bit. I know you're gonna have a little bit of a, but you know, there's this. Then I'll try to use some of what you said, like your admiration for the band, I like to use that against you somehow.
Genius. You're gonna be like, hey, you want to come to a show in the future?
No, what he'll do, he'll know that if he's like, oh, let's go grab a beer before we play, and he's just gonna buy me a bunch of drinks before we play.
Right.
He's gonna be drinking water. He's gonna be like, oh, it's a vodka soda.
What's been doing? What have you been doing? What have you been filling your time with? Obviously the kids, I'm sure, but take us into what it's been looking like, because it's been hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has. Well, like right at the beginning, there was a mad rush to try to like maybe address that meaning and try to turn it into something. So there was a lot of doing, and that came out kind of musically and lyrically at first. And then I, looking down on it, or looking over at it, I should say, it started to look a little unsightly to me, where it was like, this is really just the little me that's scrambling, trying to figure out, how do I deal with this? And it must mean that I'm supposed to do this and do this and do this and do this. And which it made some interesting things, some things that I'm excited to develop. But I got to say, I turned my back on it at one point, especially early, about a year ago, well, a little over a year ago, probably April or May. I just said, I have been put on sabbatical here. I needed that anyway. And you're just kind of doing it because you think, oh, I need to make the best out of this time. And so I started slowing everything down. I just slowed everything down. And then naturally things started producing themselves, in a better way, but slower. And so, I did a lot more visual work. There's a lot more visual work. We rebuilt a barn that was out here. I had to really work on self-discipline as far as how I work. We all do, figuring out, I'm going to wake up at this time. What am I going to do with this time? Kids help with that a little bit, but there's still blocks where you can just meld into this, this jello of phone or whatever. You just don't, I don't know, just this haze. So trying to stay out of that, and try to stay in the real world. And I'd find that when I was in the real world, there was really not a whole lot of use for the phone. It was like everything I'm doing and getting caught up in, it's all right here, and I'd still have to go do some things in town, and the world is happening right in front of me, So a lot of that realization has occurred over this past year. I'm definitely, I needed the year for sure. I knew a year was coming that I'd need to step away from the road, but I'm excited about getting back out and playing for people. Seth and Bob and I yeah, I am now, man. We were together yesterday doing a little video, and we hadn't seen each other since New Year's. Oh, wow. And I hadn't played a banjo since New Year's. I've just been trying to wrap up some visual stuff. And it just felt so good, man. It felt so good to play music with people. And so we got some more time. I think touring will probably happen in the second half of this year. Yeah, I do. That's my bet. Yeah, we'll see.
So a couple things about that.
We're on a farm here. To your question, we have a farm here, and we made a mess of it. We don't succeed necessarily at farming very well, but we do try to be good stewards of the land, and because we have it, we're like, that's our obligation, man. If you're blessed to have some property, you got to work it. And that's, so we've tried to do that as well.
Has that land been in your family for a long time, or is
part of it? Part of it has. Yeah, part of it. Okay. There's 15 acres of it that has, and then we've added to it. But it's families that have been here for a long time, so it's sort of it's dear, and it's local, and it's real. Man, I'm really sentimental about it. If I stayed here forever, great. Even if I left, I could not imagine just selling this and developing it or something like that. I just couldn't imagine. It's just so precious.
Yeah, it's near and dear to your heart at this point.
It's really sacred for sure. Yeah. It feels that way.
What's up, guys? As always, thank you for watching. I promise we will get back to the episode right away, but I want to let you know about something special that we are doing. Here at L&B, mental health is very important to us, so we have collaborated with today's guest to create a t-shirt based around subjects that we've talked about in today's episode and stuff that means a lot in their lives. And we put it into the t-shirt in a design, and we're selling it right here at this link. If you go to this link, you buy the t-shirt, 100% of the profits for the next month will go to a mental health organization. So right here, this link, go get that t-shirt. Now back to the episode.
And knowing, you being you guys being such amazing songwriters, do you have anything in the pipeline quarantine related? And I know it's so sad. This was a big thing in your guys' documentary. I know that was kind of talked about at the end and stuff. And it was, your writing is so meaningful and about your lives and stuff, and you pour so much into that and stuff, and it's weird for people to congratulate you and get excited about songs coming down the pipeline, because sometimes they are really difficult things. But I gotta ask again, do we have anything cooking up from this quarantine?
Yeah. Absolutely. Tons of things. Like we had an album ready to go. We had it demoed. We were going to be in Malibu in March last year. Recording.
Working with Rick?
Yeah, working with Rick. We're still working with Rick. And, this just shot that all to hell. And we've been sitting on those. Then we put the Gleam out, and the Gleam took a lot of energy. We really promoted it a lot, even with the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we're still sitting on that album's worth of demos. And we've got, there's been a lot of stuff that's come up since then. And there's a ton. There's a lot of ideas. There's no shortage of ideas. There never is. It's really, how do we follow through with it, Brian? You know how that is. Like it's
absolutely.
And they're coming all the time. And it's one thing. Judd Apatow told me that, man. I had this idea once, and it was relevant to share it with him. And he told me straight up. He gave me so much grace. He was like, listen to me go on and on for like 10 minutes on the phone. I was like, and this and this and this. And the only thing he had to tell me on the whole phone conversation was like, Scott, ideas are dime a dozen. Go write it. Yeah. Go finish it. And I was like, why didn't you just tell me that before I went through? I mean, he literally let me just spew for 10 minutes. I was like, oh, man. And that thing's still in the work.
Speaking of the documentary with Judd Apatow, there was a moment when you guys finished, you were at Rick Rubin's studio, and you finished recording Hard Feelings.
Yeah.
And there was that moment where it was so funny, man, to me, because you almost kind of like strong-armed Rick. He came in and he was so excited about the recording, and you're like, I'm good, Rick. I need to walk away right now and have this moment, because what was beautiful about it and what came from it, which has been, we've been talking about it a lot, and it's been resting on my mind. You walked away and you had that conversation with Seth sitting outside, and you basically were like, I don't really like the fact that people are coming up to me right now and saying, congratulations, you hit it out of the park. Because what led to you guys writing and performing that song was life, pain, hurt. Yeah. What is that, like, talking about this now, like, what does that mean to you today?
Well, to what I saw really, I had to watch that. I had to screen that in theaters with people, like in Austin and in Durham, and we did screenings of it all over the place, and then we do talks about it, and so I got to see it from an outsider looking in, and that would have been 2015 when that was filmed, or 2014, and 14. That was a really, and I don't know, it's not to be putting myself down or anything. It was just a little me. I feel like I was I was really a negative force. There's a tendency to celebrate it as humility, and I didn't see it that way at all. I saw it as you really, like, now, the me now, who got, I mean, I'm so thankful to be able to experience that, watch that with people, hear how people feel about it, see this version of myself, which I would say is from my psychotherapy experiences, that's the little me. That was the little me. The big me would say, thank you. When someone would say, congrats, man, great work, I would say, thank you so much. That's it. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
It was like this tortured little guy that was really making it all about him. And I don't mean to be hard on myself. It's okay. you felt that way before? Like, I mean, yes. You must have, right? Like,
absolutely. And
yeah,
those are the best moments.
Yeah, man. I'm with you, man. I agree. I don't beat myself over it. I beat myself up over it. I'm with you. I was out of control, like not in a wild way. I'm not saying, but I had no control of that feeling. Yeah. So that's what. All I can do is trust that is what people respond to, and you can't be in charge of that. You can't control that. No. So you have to just live life. We're going right back to the kids in soccer and their courage. It's like, well, the only way you can exemplify it or be an example is to get out there and get with it. Yep. Get your hands dirty, and you're going to find your problems, but you're going to be out of control. My favorite, man, I got this memory of a show, and this is my favorite way to play a show. We were on our way to this Mexican restaurant that we would set up in the side and play for 3 hours. They were paying us like $500 a night, which was incredible. And we had a flat tire. There was a lot of melted snow around. We made it there an hour late, but we still had plenty of time to play the show. We were covered in like wheel grease, mud. We were a mess. We rolled in there, rolled out everything, and played the show without a bit of like knowing that how awesome it was. Just the point was, we got to get this thing done. We got to make it. Yeah. And when I look back on that, I was like, that lack of control and just that will to do it, that's an incredible show, you know? And so out of control, when people can witness that. Well, before the documentary came out and before we saw the final edits, as I sat down to watch it for the first time with nobody else, just Seth and I and the director in a little theater here in town, I was just going, man, I hope that scene's not in it. That's all I can think of. I hope that scene's not in it, because that's going to be embarrassing. Because I was not, you know, I had no control of what I was going to say, you know. So,
well, how was it too working with Judd though and stuff? And before working with him, did you have a favorite movie of his? How did that kind of come about?
Man, with Judd, well, that came about because of Rick. Rick was the one that went to Judd and was like, man, I think you should consider doing a movie with these guys. And Judd was at a place where he wanted to do something that was just fun. I think he'd been really busting his ass and trying to make funny movies. And he just wanted to do something that was going to be a labor of love. And so he's such a music fan. We just did it. I had a phone conversation with him right out here. And we just talked about it briefly, and it was really natural. But that's how Rick does. Nothing's formal. Oh, yeah. It's all like intuition, natural. What's next is next, and you just do it. And it was great. And I mean, there was so much footage from that. Like I can't imagine they could make 2 other documentaries with it. But
I hope they do.
But Judd was really cool. He foot a lot of the bill and everything. So.
Oh wow.
Do you have a favorite Judd movie though out of all? Because I know he's been big in my life with his movies and stuff. He's made some classics. Do you have a favorite? You know, like Step Brothers or Pineapple Express or something?
Yeah, did he do Pineapple Express?
He did do Pineapple Express. Honestly, almost anything Seth Rogen. Yep. He did Pineapple Express. He's done Pineapple Express, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, all of those. That's Judd.
Yeah. I mean, I always the 40-Year-Old Virgin was good, but. This Is 40, I think, is the one that always pops up for me. I loved it, man. I loved it. But, I mean, yeah, Joe's brilliant, man. I didn't know he did Pineapple Express.
Yep.
That's a wild movie. It's interesting.
He really is. I have a question. So going back then, too, was it 2006 the first Gleam came out, the first of the 3?
That sounds right. Yeah, it was 06 and 08. Yeah. And
you said in the song Sanguine, or Sanguine, is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah, that sounds right. That's what I said.
We'll roll with that.
What the hell do I know?
Is it Avett or is it Avett?
Yes.
None of us know.
Depends on where you are. Is it Concord?
All I gotta say is quickly on that though, you had a response to that real quick where you said, you know what, again, like people are gonna say what they say. And you really don't have a feeling about it and stuff. All I have to say is I can appreciate that because with the name Alex Schlegelmilch,
Oh,
that was my last name. People. It was Alex, and then it was fill in the blank with any
And you're cool with it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm me. It doesn't matter.
The amount of times I've been called Brain, it's part of it. I'm pretty sure you called me Brain 10 minutes
That's
ago.
just a fucking typo, though.
Yeah, exactly. No, but on that album, on the song Sanguine, one of the lyrics, which has always hit me really hard, you said, "Kill the doubt that strangles my self-worth
Sure.
to paint the picture that I swore I heard." What is that like? That was 15 years ago now.
Yeah, and it sounds like I definitely would write that today.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Well, that certainly, that's not a knowing a kid writing that knows what he's saying, but it's an aspiration. But I think the truth of it is the oneness of things. I think that's what a lot of these sort of paradoxical lyrics reflect. To be able to hear a painting or to be able to see a song is, to me, reflective of the oneness of all things, period.
Yeah.
And a little nod to the fact that reality, and I mean this with all sincerity, is so not what everybody thinks reality is. Like, we're so far away from it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? The mystery of what reality is what is driving me, and whether people know it or not, it's probably driving them all. But to be accepting of that mystery and to be I don't know, I guess just at least accepting is the fine word for it. And so now darkness has a new meaning for me. Darkness is it's not negative anymore. Darkness and shadow and into that unknown. I just think the older we get, we have nowhere to turn, and we realize this is where we're headed, into the unknown, and that's got to be okay. It's got to be okay. You and I talking about the death thing, like that.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't help but send that thing, that death is beauty thing, because Rick sent me that beauty essay or whatever that is from that guy.
Yeah, the book.
It's incredible, and because him and I have been talking a lot about beauty these days, and I've been thinking a lot about beauty because it's such a weird term in the world of art. It's really weird in music too. Like what is beauty? What is like, and then you think about all the definitions of beauty from people. And but I am a true believer that we all need to try to make things beautiful. I mean, if it's drying the dishes off well,
Yeah.
if it's just taking your time to, I don't know, if it's mowing the yard, if it's vacuuming the floor, we just do our best and take our time, and that's oneness. Sorry to go off on that with the sanguine thing. But I can't help but go to the oneness and the whole mystical element to it all, because that was happening when we didn't know. I don't know what I was thinking when I wrote that stuff. I don't know what I was responding to, but I can look at it now and go, well, God, I know exactly. It's all in line, for sure.
And I felt the connection, and I'm curious if there even was, deliberateness behind it, but from the first gleam to the third gleam, and the lead single off the third gleam, Victory, that song in almost response to Sanguine.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it.
15 years later, you were pondering the same thoughts from 15 years of experience, and the stories of courage clouded up with fear from that moment. It hit me, man. I'll be honest, I cried. It was just the beauty of songwriting, and you just said, where do we use that word? And to me, it was over 20 years for you guys of just writing what you felt in the moment, straight from your heart, not for any sorts of, because you even say in Victory, accolades and happy days, that's not really what it's about for you.
They don't last. No, they don't. No, you're right, man. I hadn't thought about that.
Can we go, John, to, so I know your grandfather who was a minister, and I know, again, I feel like you guys really hold him in high regard just from seeing, his quotes and stuff around and different things. What is it, so can you share your thoughts about, he had talked about, you had talked about him saying that he shared, his heart and soul, no matter if anybody wanted to hear it or not, whether anybody he shared his truth. Again, he was himself. He said what he thought, because whether people want to hear it or not, he thought it was good. Do you think that has played a big part in what you guys have done, in your music and songwriting, in the honesty and sharing your true story?
Yeah, and to speak to that, like our dad, carrying that down from him, our dad would encourage us not to take religion too seriously. I mean, his dad was a minister, and he was always telling us, hey, look, don't get too fired up about this stuff. Don't get all bent out of shape and let it come between you and love. When religion and spirituality can't can't get between you and love. Religion, I think, could. And it shouldn't. Religion should actually be in harmony with it. So my dad would always be like, hey, look, let's don't take this too seriously. Yes, it's a good anchor, and we're gonna go to church, but we're gonna leave after Sunday school and go get lunch. That's right. And we're not gonna go to the sermon. We're gonna go to Sunday school, and then we're gonna go to the cafeteria. But which was great. But my grandfather must have instilled in my dad a confidence that he passed down to us, and that confidence was about, like, his key phrase was, whatever you do, you're going to be great at it. If you pick up garbage for Cabarrus County, North Carolina, you're going to be great at it, and something about it's going to be amazing. I mean, could you imagine a garbage man that could speak to you about things that matter in your heart? That what greater honor could there be? Someone that serves and also carry, like, so that was sort of how that, in hindsight, I realized that's what he was saying to me. It's like, whatever it is. Well, you're destined to be a writer if you think about things like that constantly, because you got to write it down. And if you do it long enough, I feel like somebody will hear it, and we just really never doubted that.
Yeah.
That's really missing from this day and age, I feel like, again, is like, again, the respect of listening to everybody's story, no matter if you're a trash worker or if you're Scott, on stage. Everybody has their story.
They do, man. And the people that are, true kings are servants, period. True kings are servants. They know that serving another human being is the honor that we are blessed with. And so when you start looking at, let's say, just to play ball here, at being a rock star, if you can look at being a rock star as serving people, the whole meaning and the whole game changes. Now, it's a trap. It can be a trap. You know what I'm saying? Like, self-righteousness can be a trap. Yeah. So you don't go long. You don't go there. You don't stay there, is what I'm saying. But you can say, you know what? This ain't no big deal. It's just it's a service job. It's got me working late hours, and it's got me stepping out and doing sometimes things I don't want to do. But I'm not here for me. I'm here for and with them. And then all of a sudden, all the serving that comes back to me, I get my fill for sure. Yeah. But it's a service job. And we never found success so fast that we forgot that. Ours has been a nice trajectory that it's been like we've always remembered, and it's been a nice, careful, thoughtful trajectory that has kept that right there in the forefront. It's been good, man. And now, like you can understand, Brian, like growing up around people, communities where, I mean, I don't care what you do. Yeah. It's not better or worse than what I do.
I care about your heart.
I care about your heart. And I love, there's nothing like talking to the welder that's helping me. Like, he's just kick ass. I'm just looking at him going, man, I want to be you.
Yeah, dude.
I am you. I am you. I love it, man.
No, but the problem is you're not as badass as they are, though.
I know,
It's like-
and I'm just like, my dad was a welder, so I have an admiration for it. But yeah, I'm like, man, and then they're kind of like, man, back off. Like, I'm trying to do my work. Like, you're a sensitive art. Like, they don't want to. But I'm like, hey, so what are you doing today? It's good, man. It's good.
Some juicy stuff you're hearing, I know, and we'll get right back to it. But I want to let you guys know, he's laughing at me, but I want to let you guys know, we have a Patreon, and if you want to see more juicy stuff, more footage that is not in this episode, if you hit this link right here, you can go to the Patreon, you can see that stuff. We have exclusive giveaways from Get Maine Lobster, Shipyard Beer. You can see everything that you cannot see in this episode that we're actually not allowed to load up on YouTube. If you click this link right here, join our group, you're going to get special offers, hangouts with us in the L&B studio, have a beer with us. You can even join our weekly Zoom calls where we edit these episodes. So once again, this Patreon right here. Now, back to the episode.
It's good, man. It's good. I don't know, Brian.
I know we only have a few minutes left. One of the things I want to touch on real quick, your visual art, man, is beautiful. And
Thank you.
one of the questions I had was, how do you identify? Are you when people ask, what do you do? Do you say, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a visual artist? Is there a battle for you there? And then my follow-up question to that, and I think you can answer it all together, is that moment when you sit down to create a song and that mental headspace. Is it similar to when you sit down in front of a blank canvas and you create one of your pieces?
Yeah. I saw, what's his name? I saw Daniel Day-Lewis talking about something a couple of weeks ago, and how he was saying that no matter what he would say, it would probably be reductive to what it is. He would just flub it.
Yeah.
And it's silly to try to say. I don't. Obviously, they're connected because I live with both of them. Obviously, they're connected and can't be disconnected. They can't be separated. Makes me want to take you in here to show you the piece I'm working on, because it says something
Can
about
we?
that.
Yeah, you say you
Can
can
we see it?
if you're willing.
Yeah, I am because what a page or a space calls for. Like a lot of times, I don't know about you, Brian, when I'm in my car and something starts happening. I mean, I'm over here with my book. This is, I'm writing. Like people don't need to worry about me texting while I'm driving. They need to worry about me writing while I'm driving. I'm like, it's bad, but that space and that thing that is somehow calling to you to express, not to do so much, but to express. That's such a mystery, and there's never been a one formula that I've ever taken to or taken on. I would have to repeat a quote that Robert Rauschenberg said, where he said, if I knew how to do it, why in the world would I want to do it? And when it comes to songs, every time I go into one, it's like, it's not about like, am I going to make a song? Am I going to make a painting? It's kind of like, there's a spark, something's calling me to it, and I don't know how to do it. I have no clue. How to do it. All I know is that I need to get in there and find out, So like something visual and music this is not going to be like a crazy breathtaking piece. It's not like that, but it's but it's big, and it's, if you know anything about like a legal pad here.
That's huge.
So, when you have a legal pad.
Oh my!
That's right in the car.
Well, yeah,
you just
huge.
set that up perfectly.
Well, I've been working on it, So, I mean, and it's just freehand legal pad with thick
That is
oil.
incredible.
That'll take probably 3 years to dry. But
Are you gonna write a song on it?
I don't know. So what I was going to say is, do I put words on it or not? I don't know. Does it? I mean, when you sit in a
Yeah.
room with a notebook, like a piece like that, it does something to you. I mean, for people like us, when you're looking at an upside down piece of notebook paper, you're like, what? Am I supposed to do something with that?
Yeah, exactly.
feel
Why the
obligated
hell
to
did I
create.
do it anyway?
Oh my god.
Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense.
That's exactly.
So, but I mean, there's something, that I would never think about legal pads or notebook pages if I wasn't a writer. And in the visual world, it does something to me, man. There's definitely there's an emotion to a blank page.
Yeah.
And as a rapper, as a poet, a blank page can do a lot.
What did you start drawing?
Yeah, we're really lucky in that. And I've said this before. It's not like, it's weird to say it was like down on the farm, but we lived on a dirt road that they would not put cable on. And we did a lot of drawing. We did a lot of singing and songing. I mean, it was just part of life. So I didn't ever think that it was something weird or something nobody else did. It was drawing. Look, church, like I was telling you about church, when we did go to church, one of the games we played every Sunday, my dad would draw a picture of someone we saw across the congregation, like a cartoon, and we would bust out laughing. My mom would be like, guys, you got to be quiet. And he's like drawing, the bald head of the guy in front of us and the long braids of the woman and just like exaggerating these things. And we just died laughing. But that was what drawing meant to us.
Yeah.
Drawing was something that is an expression of life. It's a celebration of life. At the end of the day, your dad would play a song from Tom T. Hall on the guitar, or we'd listen to a record, Charlie Daniels or Willie Nelson or something. And that's just what we did. So it wasn't like, oh, well, this is art and this is work.
Yeah.
And this is dinner time and this is playtime. Man, it was all one. It's all one thing. If I was going to start like an art school, it'd be like the first thing we're going to do is go plant our garden, and then we're going to cook bread, like we're going to cook lunch or whatever. We need to talk about how does our creative expression and output, how does it integrate in our life? Because it's so crazy to say, well, this is art, and this is fine art, and this is outsider art, and this is hip hop, and this is country. Now, granted, you got to put them in record bins, so fair enough. And one has a beat, and the other one has a beat. I don't know. But my point is like, it's so integrated and so one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man,
absolutely.
And that's how we grew up. Drawing and music was just
same.
That's just part of life.
I'm gonna FaceTime my dad right now. No, I am, because you just said, you just talked about your dad singing a song. Dad. Father, we're on set right now. We're live. We're live with Scott Avett.
Hello, Father.
Hello, Scott.
He says hello, Father. That's what I say. That's so funny. That's literally what I say to him all the time. Dad, sorry, we're gonna skip all the subtleties. Can you sing us your favorite karaoke song that you love to sing?
Yeah, but I have a lot of trouble doing without a microphone, but I'll give it a
I
shot.
have trouble without a microphone.
He needs something in his hand.
Give me a second.
Here, Dad, I'm gonna put this mic in front of the...
Red roses too, I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Alright?
Man, it's Louis Armstrong himself.
Thank you.
I love you, Dad.
It's Louis himself.
Scott said he's Louis himself.
Have his people call my people.
Have his people call my people. I love you, Dad. I'll call you after the episode. Bye. Oh, man. I think one thing we can agree on as family is the most important thing.
It's great.
And I want to quickly draw back though too. I had one more follow up too with when we were talking about your grandfather and your dad and stuff, and knowing that and stuff. How does that play a role with you raising your kids? I feel like again, and you being able to be so honest with the world itself. I feel like that is such a powerful thing in raising kids, and that was lost. Maybe when we were growing up and stuff, that the parents just weren't brutally honest always and didn't share their actual feelings of the world. How has that played a role with you, raising your children?
Yeah, that's true. I think that is one of the benefits to our generation. Like there's a little progression in it. To speak good about our parents' generation, which we can dump on the baby boomers a lot. You know, there's a lot to dump in that we can do. But some of the clear-cut ways that life was presented to us as kids, I think doesn't hurt. Like to me, I have a hard time telling someone something's good or bad, personally. I look at somebody says, well, that's a bad drawing. I'm like, what? Bad in how? In what way? This is a bad meal. In what way? Like, and this is, I'm a good person. Well, how are you good? Are you really good? So but for kids, I sometimes try to dumb things down. Like I was with my Luke today, we were on a trail walk and I was telling him, I purposely had to realize I got to explain to him, well, that's bad. That's a bad thing. I don't actually believe that, but I was like, I got to speak in kids' terms here. So, my dad was pretty good at being clear cut about things and saying, that's right and that's wrong. It gets so hazy when we get older, and especially the more we want to love, the harder it is to call something as wrong. So that's tricky. But for kids, man, to speak to them, it's like, look, they're gonna have to hear that's not right. That's not right. Just trust that for now. You deal with the more complex approach later.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that answers the question, but there's something to that.
Oh man, well, dude, thank you for this. Last question before we go: if you had an autobiography written about your life, what would it be called today?
Oh man, I had this answer.
Yeah, it's in the phone.
Yeah, I think I found it in my.
It's on the notepad.
Yeah. That's a serious.
Take your time, like I said.
Oh. All right. Do you think kids will see this? They might.
No.
We can't be mature.
We'll put them. No, hold on. Okay, can we get both? Can we get
Well, no, it's not vulgar. It's not vulgar or anything. No, it's not like that. You know what it's like when you look into your voice memos and you reference a word and they're just like, oh shit, there's that idea.
Oh yeah.
2014. Oh man. Man, it's a long story, but I had written down that my book, and I just wrote the title was going to be Santa is Real. I don't know, Brian, anything for you. I mean, I'm just
We appreciate you.
This is Scott Avett, and you're watching Lobster and Beer TV.
Yes! Hey guys, I know we got kicked out of the bar. They called last call, but we're back. And I just want to let you know we appreciate you guys so much. Our fan base means everything to us. So if you can, hit the like button, subscribe right here, and hit us up on Instagram, socials, everything. Lobster and Beer TV. We love you. We will see you on the next episode. Peace!